Speaker Mike Johnson is on the Fox couch defending Pete Hegseth with good news, but there's a lot of good points they make about how this is all fake that the Democrats are going after. And welcome to Doug in Exile. I'm Doug TenNapel. This is where the happy patriots are. Thank you guys for watching and subscribing.
How do you feel as we sit this morning about Pete Hegseth getting confirmed as at DOD?
I'm optimistic about it. I think he's on the right track. I talked to a number of senators personally on the Hill just over the last couple of days, and it seems like the momentum moving the right way.
He's talking about the momentum because the momentum wasn't with him earlier this week. So it's kind of been back and forth last week. Recently, with Trump doubling down on him, it has helped encourage the online people to support him. There's also been massive campaigns sending out messages to senators for confirmation to tell them, hey, we support Pete Hegseth. So it's going well. He's still not in the clear.
What I'm saying is when you're talking about drinking at 10 in the morning, that's a drinking problem. Now, it doesn't mean that there should be a stigma.
Then there's a lot of politicians that have a drinking problem, Jake.
Yes, of course. But I guess my question is...
Yeah, and then there's probably a lot of media that has a drinking problem, too.
And by the way, we're going to end this whole show on the worst Donald Trump imitation you'll ever see by Mike Johnson.
Look, I like how he's approached it. We've all made mistakes in our lives, right? But we believe in redemption. And
we do believe in redemption. As Christmas comes and Jesus came into the world to redeem us, we believe in some level of forgiveness, especially for people who have drug addictions, alcoholism. I'm not saying that's what Pete Hegseth has. I'm only saying he doesn't have to be perfect to get the job, especially given Trump's at the top, and he has his own sordid background. I think most of these politicians, most people have something they're ashamed of. If they're legit about a change, I think you should give them a chance. That goes for Democrat, Republican, I don't care who they are. If you don't give people second chances, you're basically condemning them for life.
I think he's well suited for the job, and he will shake up the status quo, which is why this pick is so important. That's what President Trump, that's the common denominator, people who will shake it up.
And I think that's precisely why he's getting the pushback.
So do you believe that's why Hegseth is getting the pushback, because of what he's going to straighten out at the Department of Defense?
But it's so interesting, isn't it, Speaker Johnson, that the media and so many of the people who are clutching their pearls over Pete's past are the same people who want to put pornography in our school, who are responsible for basically the degeneration of our culture.
Now that I like. I had not thought of that before. It really is the Democrats that destroyed our culture. Take it for what you want. Drinking alcohol, it may be, I don't even know how you feel about it, but if someone drinks alcohol, there's bad things you can do.
There's a lot of alcohol that flows through Washington, D.C. on a regular basis, and I wouldn't say that people are alcoholics or they have a drinking problem because of that. I don't see it at all. I don't see that being a problem, and I really wish that the media would move on and start focusing on what he can bring to the Secretary as Secretary of Defense.
But a lot of people drink alcohol. Compared to bringing trans material to be read to our children in libraries and in public schools, putting men in women's sports, biological men in women's sports, there's a lot of things the Democrats push that they're for. And the biggest one of all, if they're against alcohol use by Pete Hegseth, what about the crack use by Hunter Biden? And they're for pardoning him. They found a bag of cocaine at the White House, and the Democrats were like, just bury it over. They were not outraged by it all. But now Pete Hegseth drinks some booze, and it's like, you'd think he was the Antichrist.
It's always a double standard with the other side.
Like I said, Hunter Biden is exhibit A of that double standard.
Nobody in Washington spends more of his time than you do recruiting people to run for public office. Yeah. And I would think that things like this, the treatment of Donald Trump, the treatment of Brett Kavanaugh, make your job a whole lot harder getting good people who are willing to expose themselves.
That's exactly right. If you want a higher caliber of folks serving in government and taking on government service, this is not a good look, because who wants to subject themselves from this? And then the constant, barrage on social media and all the things that come with it.
You'd be crazy to run for office, especially if you're a family man. They would just come after you and eviscerate you. And we already know that the Democrats are okay with lying. It's a terrible way that they punish us, right? But I believe that's going to change a little bit in recent history. And that's because media is run by the left. So they only call out the sins of the right. They never call out the sins of the left. But now that media has been completely discredited, no one even cares what they think anymore, I think they're going to have less and less power at the kinds of witch hunts they do against people like Hegseth. We know to suspect them first if they uniquely call out his use of alcohol. And we know that they don't care about other sins, including their own party. The kinds of things they've done in that Capitol, in their offices,
Patriots like Pete are the ones that we need. He's willing to take the fire to stand and serve his country.
And I appreciate his fight. I appreciate him staying in it. He's going to take a lot of hits on this thing. I think it's all going to be great if he wins. And we still don't know yet. So don't forget to call your congressman. Don't forget to call your elected officials and tweet about it. Leave a comment. Tell people if you support Hegseth or not. Those of you who are teetotalers and are against drinking alcohol, do you still support Pete Hegseth? That's important for me to find out from you also.
Mr. Speaker, we've seen this process play out almost like dominoes falling. You saw it with Matt Gaetz. It moves to Pete Hegseth. There are talks now that Tulsi Gabbard will be on the Hill this week. Why should we have any expectation the same treatment won't now be moved to Tulsi Gabbard and perhaps after Tulsi Gabbard, Robert F. Kennedy Jr.? Does the president not have a right to his confirmation selections? It certainly seems that when Democrats make their selections, Republicans go ahead and confirm the Democrats like Joe Biden's selections.
Republicans are always behind in how to play the political game. The Democrats won't confirm our guys, and the Republicans blanket confirm all the Democrats. That has to stop. That's a different form of a two-tiered justice. If you do not respond in some way that they learn a lesson, they'll never learn it. By the way, what gets rewarded gets repeated. So if they knock down Matt Gaetz, then it's Pete Hegseth's turn. If they knock down Pete Hegseth, they will go after Tulsi Gabbard. Same thing with RFK Jr. They're lining them up, and they're going to pretend like they're outraged at what these people do. And we already know, by the way, the Democrats have acted. They have no problem with these actual actions. They're going to say with Tulsi Gabbard being too chummy with Bashir Assad or whatever of Syria, all these people that she has met with, they're implying that she's a compromised asset and all that, or somehow involved with Russia or whatever. It's all stupid. And RFK Jr., when the left has proposed some of the most ridiculous anti-science things there are, they're going to suddenly go after RFK Jr. for being anti-science.
This is a really important tradition and principle that the president, a new president, gets to choose his or her team, and he has the right to choose the people that he wants to fulfill this mandate that he's been given by the American people. And so it's not right for them to go through and do what they're doing. This character assassination, I think, is over the top.
I kind of wish Mike Johnson in this point was not Mike Johnson, but he was Chip Roy, because he's so soft-spoken that I wish there was a little more animation behind him showing his outrage. But he is faithful to Trump. I remember when he first came on the scene, everyone was saying, oh, he's a rhino, you can't trust him. But he is working and performing Trump's agenda very well, including in the people that he has run for office.
Rachel,
Yes,
I don't know
of
why
course.
you do this to me all the time. It's not good. Okay, it's not good for my career. Okay.
And that is, in fact, the worst Trump imitation I've ever seen in my life. And if I had to see it, you do too. I'm Doug in Exile.